Today on my Instagram post, I talked about my husband's great-grandma, Minnie, which, by the way, I think is the cutest name. And here's a picture of her. Can you see her, that lady down here? And then this is when she's older. This woman had 11 kids, 9 sons and 2 daughters, my husband's great-great-grandmother. She was born in 1885 in Denmark, came to the States, raised all these kids. So I was sitting there with my kids last night. We always do a family night on Monday nights and try to do something, and my husband was out, and so I thought, what's something we could do? We just started kind of reading about this history, about her life, written by my husband's grandma. And I'm sitting there thinking, I've got 4 kids. She had 11 kids. And then I start thinking about what her everyday life looked like. And she had one dress. When the kids were young, she had one dress, one apron. She'd take them off, wash them, let them be drying through the night. She'd wake up and she had a wooden stove. And so she'd, fire up the stove, get out an iron made of metal that wouldn't heat up, obviously no electricity, put it on top of the stove, put 2 irons so that one could always be heating while she was using the other one, right? So she wakes up, presses her dress. This is before anyone else is up. Makes bread. I'm trying to remember how many loaves of bread, like 8 to 10 loaves of bread a day or something like that. Make her loaves of bread, get everything ready for breakfast so that then when the rest of the family got up, they would have breakfast before the crack of dawn so they could get out and work at the farm. And that's just breakfast, right? That's just like to get ready for the day. And then it progresses through there, and I'm thinking of what else did she not have with 11 children? Obviously no diapers or wipes, which is maybe more of the issue. No washers or dryers, really stiff, coarse material. No electric stove. So wherever she's getting the wood from, she's starting a fire every single morning. There was no plumbing. I actually can't even really think of what that would be like. So she's probably is she going outside in the mornings before? So basically, this is everyday life, right? And I tried to look up some statistics of just what life was like and was there discretionary time. And there was very little of it. By the time you're doing washing and cooking and cleaning and then washing up and everything out yourself. So I don't really know how to calculate how much more discretionary time we have right now, but if you had to guess, how much time do you think you spend a day on just discretionary time? Time that you kind of get to choose what you want to do with it. Obviously, all of us are at different stages and seasons in life. And for some people, if you're on here saying, I just don't even have discretionary time at this point, then maybe this isn't even that interesting to you. And right now you're just killing it. And maybe you're a young mom because young babies, you're in over your head and you just think, I'm not even really in that situation right now. And if so, I get that. But if you are in a situation where you think, I have discretionary time, how much time would you think it is? Maybe you've plotted it out somewhere or thought this through, but let's now break this down. How much time do you think you spend on social media every day? I know there's apps now that can track it. I haven't put one of those on my phone. How much time do you think you spend eating? How much time do you think you spend watching TV? Now the things that I talked about, my husband's great-great-grandmother, Minnie, doing the laundry. How much time do you spend walking the dog, talking with friends, running kids around, whatever it is? What do you think that time breakdown looks like? So while you're thinking about this, I'm going to go into a little trivia for you here that is actually related, though it may not sound like it at first. There is, so what do you think makes more money in the U.S. than movies, game parks, and baseball combined? I'm going to repeat that. Kim, you just jumped on. You know the answer to this. Don't cheat. What do you think makes more money in the U.S. than movies, game parks, and baseball combined? You guys thought through that? So this is theme parks, all movies. The movie industry is mega, right? Baseball industry is huge. Slot machines. Slot machines make more money than all those things combined. And it's funny when you think about it, right? Because most slot machines, you're playing with teeny tiny coins, right? Teeny tiny amounts of money, not teeny tiny coins. Teeny tiny amounts of money, like a penny or probably a quarter. I don't really gamble. A quarter, $1, $5, something like that. When you're thinking about, okay, baseball tickets or theme park tickets or movie tickets, how is that even possible, right? That makes more than all those combined. And it's because they're just small amounts of money over and over and over again, right? Like I'm sure we're all very aware, like slot machines are extremely addictive. There's something about the thrill of not knowing when you're going to get something back and pulling that slot machine every time. So the funny thing is, and I heard this is not my original thoughts here. This is from a TED Talk that's amazing that I'll put, I think you can put, I don't even use YouTube. I'll put these in the comments, probably in the YouTube, or maybe I'll do a post on the Instagram. TED Talk that was amazing in Brussels by a guy named Tristan Harris that talked about let's design social media to help us, do what we want to do. Anyway, so he starts out his talk with this. Slot machines make more than movies, game parks, and baseball combined, and it's because it's just that repeated putting in of the money, right? The thing is, our phones are slot machines. Every time we go to check our phones, we're playing that slot machine. We pull it down and we like literally do it right with our emails, or at least we used to. I don't know if that function is like pull down to check to see if everything's updated, pull down to update your Instagram feed, pull down to update your Facebook feed. And every time it's like a slot machine, and sometimes you're going to get a reward. And that's the most addictive response, is when sometimes you get a positive response that produces the most results. So totally fascinating that what we're doing on our phones is actually created similar to a slot machine, especially on social media, which is fascinating to me. So I'm going to go back to the question I asked. If you had to guess how much time do you think you're actually spending on your social media or eating or grooming or whatever it is. So here's the current statistics. This was in January of 2015. The average person will spend nearly 2 hours, approximately 116 minutes on social media every single day. Over a lifetime, this translates to a total of 5 years of your life and 4 months. Which is kind of bizarre and bonkers, right? Like, that's crazy to me. Or if you calculated this to 1 year, the time you spent on social media is 30 days. So a month of your 12 months of your year is spent on there. Ugh, like, it's crazy, right? Is that crazy? Yes, I'm feeling the same way. I feel like that's crazy. So if you want to figure out, it gets a little crazier. Here it is with other daily activities you do every day. Eating and drinking. Do you want to know how much of your life you're going to be spending eating and drinking? 3 years and 5 months. You'll be, with the current statistics, more of our life will be spent on social media than it will be eating and drinking. 3 years of our lives will be spent eating and drinking, 5 years on social media. Grooming, getting ready, grooming yourself, 1 year and 10 months. So about 2 years, double the time on social media. Other socializing, 1 year and 3 months. Doing laundry, bringing it back to my great grandma Minnie here. Doing the laundry, you'll spend 6 months of your life doing laundry. That's it. 5 years on social media, 6 months doing laundry. I'm actually happy about that statistic. I don't want to be spending more of my time doing laundry. So what are some other things? So let's take this hypothetical situation. Say Facebook powers that be, Instagram powers that be come to you and they're like, okay, we have a money back guarantee. If you're not happy with what you get, we'll give you your time back, right? We'll give it all pretty packaged in this bow, the time that you spent if you're not happy. So here's the time you spent on Instagram, Facebook, whatever your favorite social media site is. And here's what you got out of it. What do you think your response would be? Are you A or B? A, would your response be, I am totally happy with what I got out of that month of my life in 2017. I hope it's not really a month of our lives. I'm happy with what I learned. I'm happy with what I felt. I'm happy with how I connected with people. With those 30 days of cumulative time, I'm happy with that. Or would you be B, I want a refund. I want a refund on how I spent that time. I want that back. I want to go take a sabbatical and go do something awesome. A month, maybe I'll take the whole month of January and do something else rather than spend 2 hours every single day on social media. Now, obviously, we're here on Facebook, right? I mean, on Instagram. I'm not saying it's a terrible thing, and I'm not saying Instagram's horrible. I spend time here, and I think that there's a lot of good stuff here. I'm gonna read this comment for just a second. Okay, and I'm glad I did. Refund, Cami, I feel the same. Brenna, it's interesting to think that, let's see if I can keep this up, that we're spending more time simply looking at what other people are doing with their lives, or simply showing what we're doing with ours. And I love that comment. And I think that's something really interesting. I quit Facebook too, actually. I think what's something interesting to think is not just how much time are you spending on social media, but just what Brenna said is, are you spending more time? What are you doing when you're using those hours, right? Are you a consumer or are you a producer? There's a book that my parents had my whole family read, Our Last Family Reunion, that I highly recommend. I need to keep a little note of this, of the things that I said I'd share. It's by a guy named Ben Sass. And my parents would kill me. I can't remember the name of the book right now, but it's so good. But he talks about, well, I'm gonna come back to that thought actually in a little bit, but I will share the Ben Sass. Oh, he talks about producing versus consuming. And if you want to know a good strategy for happiness, produce more than you consume. If you're consuming more than you're producing, you're depressed and anxious. Is that social media? Brenna, that's exactly what you just said. I hope I'm saying your name right. If you want to be happy, you start producing more, start consuming less. It works with your health too, right? Are you producing more or are you just sitting and consuming? So the book by Ben Sass, he talks about that, and I feel like it's totally true online. So if you want a refund, if you're one of those that were I want a refund from the time that I'm spending on Facebook, Instagram, social media, or anything else in your life, I don't care what it is. Maybe it's TV, or maybe it's time gossiping, or just something that you feel isn't really giving more. I want you to think about what would I rather have with that time. With a month of your life, you could probably learn a total foreign language, right? In 30 days, I would think. So I want you to write down, if you're listening to this after, pause it, or I don't think you can pause it when it's live. I want you to write down where are the biggest blocks of time being spent in my life right now, and write them down. Or maybe even do kind of an inventory throughout this next week and say, wow, I just went to the fridge again. Wow, I just went to look again at Instagram, or I just went to do this again, or I called this, or whatever it was. It's kind of like your financial plan, right? You're sitting down and say, I just kind of want to know where the money's going. Do that with your time. And then I want to look on the other hand, and I want you to start writing down, what are some things that I want out of my life? If I could have anything right now, especially if I could have a whole month, if I could just step away from all my responsibilities and take a month of my life, what would I want? What things would be really exciting for me or happy for me? Or would it be organizing something or finally getting over something? What would it be? And then I want you to take, where am I currently spending my time? I mean, this isn't rocket science, right? Where am I currently spending my time, and what do I want out of my life right now? And now I want you to look where are my discrepancies? Where is it not measuring up with what I want out of my life and where I'm spending my time currently? On today's post, someone, Diane Day, I don't know if you're on, shared a quote that I was so excited about, and I'm writing down in all my stuff, and I'll probably be quoting this multiple times, and I'm not even going to try to say who the author, something, well, I will try to say it because the person said it originally, Rabindranath Tagore. I'm sure that's not even close. Here's the quote. The song I came to sing remains unsung. I have spent my days in stringing and in unstringing my instrument. Does that resonate with you? I'm going to say it again. The song I came to sing remains unsung. I have spent my days in stringing and in unstringing my instrument. So I'm going to take it back to social media for a second here, because I feel this is where I've let fear take over in the past. Have something I want to share, or it could be anything, something I want to share with a friend, or something I want to say, or something that I'm feeling passionate about. And instead of just going and singing that song, I think doesn't really look very good. I need a better image to go with that thought on my social media, or I need to wait until I got ready before I run over to this neighbor's house and take over this thing that I was thinking, or whatever it is. Hit send on that blog post, call up that friend until you know what the perfect words are to say. Or maybe it's a creative process. Maybe it's a painting, or maybe it's something else. Are you spending more time in your day stringing and unstringing your instrument, or are you out there singing your song? It's going to look ugly at first. It's going to be imperfect. It's going to be these Instagram lives that I'm trying to do that I'm not feeling totally confident about my abilities here, but I've got a song here and I'm going to be singing it. And I'll probably laugh about it later at the things I was saying and how I did it, but I'm singing it. I'm not wasting time saying, maybe when I have better editing software and when I really get up the curve on a podcast or whatever, just start singing your song. Just start. If nothing else, you're going to practice and practice and practice that song, and eventually it will be to the point where you want. But if you're spending all your time stringing and unstringing that instrument, you're never going to get where you want to be. That's not how you get better. Playing and playing and playing is how it gets better. So I am going to talk for a minute about when you now have how I'm using my time currently. This is where I want to be spending my time. Where do I start now? Where do I go from here? And I'm going to flip it on its head just a little bit. This is where I don't want you to start. I don't want you to start by saying, well, this other person, all these other people, comparison. Don't start with comparison. Don't look at what other people are doing. Don't look at the gifts they have and then start saying, well, maybe I should look more like that. Maybe I should do something more like that. This mom I know does this with her kids. And I kind of think that that's maybe what I should be doing. That's not the place to start with singing your song, right? It's not bad to be inspired by others. Love that, right? I think if you see something and it starts resonating, maybe even it's jealousy. The Allison Show talks about this, and I love this. Sometimes jealousy is a really good indicator of, actually, you should probably be doing this. If you're feeling jealous that someone else is doing that, go do it yourself. Go do that same thing. Throw yourself out there. Get excited. And another great indicator, and there's a quote on this that I'm sure I'll share at another point, fear is a great indication that there's something here for you. So if you're feeling fear, if you're feeling excited, if you're feeling a little jealous, that might be a place, but don't start by comparing and doing it because someone else is doing it. Recipe for disaster. It's not gonna feed you and make you happy. Another place I don't want you to start is don't listen to the voices of others, what other people are telling you should do, if it feels conflicting. Should you consult with friends, consult with family members, and talk about things? Absolutely. But if it starts conflicting with the voice within, don't listen, because there is a reason. God is telling you who you are in that voice within, and I believe that. Third, and I feel this one the most strongly probably, don't let the love of position or the approval of other people be the place that you're starting from. And I think social media is the best example of this, right? If you're starting that what you're going to do that day or that month or the goals you're going to set have anything to do with how many likes they're going to get, stop. It doesn't lead to happiness and it doesn't lead to fulfillment, and there's just nothing there. I think it kind of becomes just the hamster wheel, right? You are looking at them, and then someone's looking at you, and then you're looking at them, and you're looking at you, and we all kind of start producing the same content, and we all start sounding like the same person. Have you ever noticed that on Instagram? It's like, whoa, we talk with this weird lingo that nobody even uses in real life. But I think part of that is we're all trying to feel like we're approved, and we all try to sound like each other. So this line comes from a talk that I'm also going to put, and I'm going to quote either an Instagram post or again on the YouTube when I post this over. Focus on cherishing your course and savoring your own distinctiveness. Shut out the conflicting voices and listen to the voice within. I'm going to say that again. Focus on cherishing your course and savor your own distinctiveness. Shut out conflicting voices and listen to the voice within. And I want you to start thinking about this. This is going to be something I talk about probably in a lot of these old chats. What is your own distinctiveness? What makes you you? What are the gifts and talents you have that may seem small, may seem big, but are the gifts and talents that you brought here with you to earth? Learn to savor in those. I think sometimes it takes us a while to understand what those gifts and talents are, and maybe you could ask a trusted friend or a family member that you don't feel like is going to judge you for asking the question, what am I good at? What do you value me for? How do I give back to your life? How have I benefited you? What are the gifts and talents that I've helped you, that you think I have that have maybe helped you at some point? And then focus on how you can develop those, or how, if they are developed, you can use them more to help more people. So your assignments for today, this is the end of our chat, is think about how are you currently spending your time. Go from there to think about what do you want most. This is a great exercise as you're thinking about going into 2018 and maybe how you want to make some changes with those 5 years and 4 months of your life that are currently being spent on Instagram, social media, or your 30 days a month, 30 days a year. Here's some other things that you could do. I'm going to leave you with this thought. You could fly to the moon in 5 years and 4 months of your life. If you added up all of your time spent on social media, you could fly to the moon and back 32 times. You'd have to be really rich, but you could with that time, 5 years and 4 months. You could walk the Great Wall of China 3.5 times. You could climb Mount Everest 32 times. You could run 10,000 marathons. 10,000 marathons in those 5 years. You could walk your dog 93,000 times. So I want you to think about what are you going to be doing? How are you going to be spending that time with your life? And we will be chatting more about that in another chat. Chat. I've used that word enough tonight, I think. I am thrilled to have you guys here. I'll be posting this on YouTube. I'll put the link to it in my profile and then probably do a follow-up post on Instagram just reaffirming what we talked about and sharing some of the resources. But and I'll answer this question really quick. I do these chats roughly once a week is what I'm committing myself to. I don't have a date set, and we're obviously heading into the holidays. And so these aren't a set day, but probably are going to evolve into a set day as I get a little bit more organized. So excited to have you guys here. Thanks for being a part of it, and excited to have some special guests on soon. So we'll talk soon. Thanks you guys for joining.